The Galactic Council chamber was filled with laughter. Ambassador Zektar of the Dominion Empire couldn't contain his amusement as he looked at the small blue planet's representative. Earth wants a seat on the Security Council. Zektar's voice boomed across the vast chamber. His four arms gestured mockingly at the human ambassador. Your species can barely leave your own solar system. Ambassador Sarah Chun stood firm, her back straight despite being surrounded by beings twice her height. The other alien races joined in the laughter. The crystalline Vorthak chimed like breaking glass. The tentacled quarry bubbled with mirth. Even the usually serious mechanoids emitted electronic chirps of amusement. We have earned our place, Chin said calmly. Earth has contributed to galactic trade, shared our culture, and culture, interrupted High Chancellor Mordun, his scaled skin rippling with disdain. You mean those primitive broadcasts you beam into space? Your movies about fictional battles? More laughter echoed through the chamber. The Galactic Council had stood for 10,000 years. Species earned their place through military might, advanced technology, and conquest. Earth had none of these things. They were newcomers, barely 50 years into space travel. The humans are like children playing with toys, said Commander Vrex of the Warrior Caste. His species had conquered 100 worlds. They build tiny ships with chemical rockets. Their weapons are projectiles and explosives. How quaint. Chen's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. We seek peaceful membership. Our military capabilities are defensive only. Military capabilities? Zektar nearly doubled over with laughter. I've seen your ships. My personal yacht has more firepower than your entire fleet. The Dominion Empire was known for its cruelty. They had enslaved dozens of species, destroyed worlds that resisted, and ruled through fear. Zektar himself had ordered the destruction of 3 planets in the last decade alone. Perhaps we should test these humans, Mordun suggested, his forked tongue flicking out. Send them against the pirates in the Outer Rim. When they run crying back to Earth, maybe they'll understand their place. No, Zektar said, standing to his full height of 12 feet. I have a better idea. The Dominion will visit Earth personally. We'll show them what real power looks like. Then, they'll beg to be our servants like the others. Chin's expression didn't change, but something flashed in her eyes. That would be inadvisable. The chamber erupted in fresh laughter. The small human woman daring to warn the mighty Dominion Empire? It was the best entertainment they'd had in centuries. Inadvisable. Zektar moved closer, his shadow falling over Chun. Little human, I have destroyed civilizations that existed before your species learned to use fire. My fleet numbers in the thousands. Each ship carries weapons that can crack continents. What does Earth have? A few hundred vessels with pop guns. We have something you don't understand, Chin said quietly. Oh, enlighten us, please. The sarcasm dripped from Zektar's words. We have never lost a war. The laughter stopped for a moment, then returned even louder. Never lost a war? The humans had barely fought anyone in space. Their few conflicts had been against pirates and smugglers. You've never fought a real war, Commander Vrex corrected. Your battles have been against each other on your own world. Primitives fighting primitives with primitive weapons. Chun smiled, and something about that smile made a few of the lesser species step back. Yes, we've fought each other. For thousands of years. Every generation. Every nation. We've turned war into science, into art, into instinct. And now we're united. Touching, Zektar said. I'll be sure to include that in your eulogy. The Dominion fleet will arrive at Earth in 7 days. Surrender then, and we might let some of you live as slaves. Resist, and we'll turn your world to glass. If you come to Earth with hostile intent, Chin said, pulling out a small communication device, I am authorized to activate Protocol 7. Protocol 7? Mordenaft? What's that? Your surrender procedures. No. Chun typed something into the device. It's what we call taking the gloves off. She turned and walked toward the exit. The alien's laughter followed her out. Let them laugh, she thought. They had no idea what they had just awakened. Earth had spent 50 years being polite, being diplomatic, hiding their true nature. The message was sent. Across Earth and its colonies, soldiers who had trained their entire lives for this moment received 2 words: Protocol 7. The aliens thought Earth was weak because humans chose peace. They were about to learn why Earth chose peace. It wasn't from weakness. It was mercy. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Rodriguez stood before a massive holographic display. Red lights bathed the command center as hundreds of personnel worked at their stations. The countdown timer showed 6 days until the Dominion fleet arrived. Status report, Rodriguez commanded. All Hellhound squadrons reporting ready, sir, Colonel Kim announced. The Mars shipyards have activated emergency protocols. They're pulling everything out of mothballs. Rodriguez nodded. For 50 years, Earth had hidden its true military strength. While showing the galaxy crude rockets and basic weapons, humanity had been building something else entirely in secret. The alien species believed humans were primitive because they had only seen what Earth wanted them to see. Activate the Ghost Fleet, Rodriguez ordered. Across the solar system, hidden facilities powered up. On the dark side of the moon, massive hangar doors opened for the first time in decades. Ships that had never been registered with the Galactic Council began their system checks. These weren't the crude vessels the aliens mocked. These were predators, built with one purpose. Captain Jake Thompson stood on the bridge of the ESS Vengeance, one of Earth's true warships. His crew of 20 could operate the entire vessel thanks to advanced AI systems. Where alien ships needed hundreds or thousands of crew members, human engineering had focused on efficiency and automation. All systems green, Captain, his weapons officer reported. Plasma cannons charged. Kinetic drivers loaded. Antimatter torpedoes armed. Thompson smiled grimly. The aliens thought humans only had chemical rockets and projectiles. They had never asked the right questions. Humans didn't need to develop energy shields because human weapons were designed to bypass them entirely. They didn't build massive ships because human tactics relied on speed and precision. In Earth's military academies, a different kind of soldier had been training. Lieutenant Maria Santos checked her squad's equipment one more time. They wore power armor that looked primitive compared to alien technology, but appearances were deceiving. Human engineering focused on function over form. Remember your training, Santos told her squad. The aliens expect us to fight like they do. Big ships, energy weapons, shields, and formations. They've never faced human warfare. Private Chun raised his hand. Ma'am, is it true what they say about the Dominion? That they've never lost a fleet battle? That's right, Private. They've never lost a fleet battle. Santos smiled coldly. And we've never lost a war. They fight battles. We fight wars. There's a difference. Back in the command center, Rodriguez received updates from around the globe. Every nation had activated their reserves. Veterans who had spent years pretending to be farmers, teachers, and office workers reported to hidden bases. The alien observers Earth allowed had only seen what humanity wanted them to see. Sir, intelligence reports the Dominion is broadcasting their approach, an officer announced. They're making sure every species watches. Let them, Rodriguez said. Open channel to all commanders. His image appeared on screens across Earth and its colonies. Ladies and gentlemen, for 50 years we played nice. We've let them laugh at us, mock us, and dismiss us. We've attended their councils, followed their rules, and pretended to be harmless. That ends now. He paused, looking directly at the camera. The Dominion thinks this will be an execution. They're right, just not the way they think. You know your orders. Show them why humanity unified. Show them why we stop fighting each other. Show them what happens when you threaten Earth. Across the planet, similar scenes played out. In Moscow, Colonel Volkov activated Russia's orbital defense platforms. In Beijing, General Liu brought online weapon satellites that had been disguised as communication relays. In London, Admiral Stewart prepared the submarine fleets that could operate in space as well as water. The aliens had laughed at Earth's military because they measured strength by their own standards. Big ships, energy weapons, massive crews. They never understood that humans had evolved through different warfare. Guerrilla tactics, precision strikes, psychological operations, and total war were concepts alien to most species. Sir, Kim reported. The Dominion fleet just passed Neptune. 4,000 ships, just as intelligence predicted. And our numbers? 800 combat vessels ready, 2,000 more in reserve. 40 million ground troops. 1 billion armed civilians. Rodriguez smiled. The numbers seemed small compared to the Dominion, but numbers had never been humanity's strength. Earth's military doctrine was simple. Every soldier a specialist, every weapon optimized, every tactic designed to multiply force. Send word to Ambassador Chun. Tell her to leave Council space immediately. Sir, once this starts, the Council will realize they've made a terrible mistake. I want our diplomats safe when they come begging for mercy. The countdown continued. 6 days until the Dominion arrived. 6 days until the galaxy learned why humans had really unified. It wasn't for peace. It was because humanity had become so good at war, they had to stop fighting each other before they destroyed themselves. Now, someone else had volunteered to be their target. The Dominion Empire was about to discover what 8 billion unified humans could do when threatened. They thought Earth was prey. They were about to meet the apex predator. Admiral Zektar stood on the command deck of his flagship, Pride of Dominion. The massive dreadnought was the size of a small city, bristling with weapons that had conquered worlds. Around him, 4,000 ships moved in perfect formation toward the blue marble called Earth. Sir, we're detecting energy signatures from Earth's fleet, his sensor officer reported. They are moving to intercept. Sektar Logit, 800 ships against 4,000? Had they gone mad? On the tactical display, Earth's vessels appeared as small dots approaching his armada. They looked even more pathetic than he remembered. Small, angular things that seemed held together by primitive welding. His single dreadnought could destroy a dozen of them without effort. Should we demand their surrender again? Admiral, his communications officer asked. No, let them come. This will be educational for the galaxy. Open all channels. Let every species witness Earth's humiliation. Captain Thompson watched the Dominion fleet on his screen. The aliens had arranged themselves in their standard battle formation, a massive wall of ships designed to overwhelm with firepower. It was the same tactic they'd used for centuries. Big ships, big guns, straight lines. Distance to target? Thompson asked. 15 million kilometers and closing. Signal the fleet. Execute Wolf Pack Alpha. The human ships suddenly scattered. Where moments before they had been approaching in formation, now they broke into hundreds of small groups, accelerating in different directions. To the Dominion, it looked like panic. They're running. Zektar's bridge erupted in laughter. Not even brave enough to die fighting. But Thompson wasn't running. Human ships were smaller because they didn't waste space on massive crews or redundant systems. Every meter was dedicated to weapons, engines, or armor. The scattered formation wasn't retreat, it was positioning. Sir, the Dominion sensor officer's voice wavered. The human ships, they're accelerating beyond safety limits. Those speeds will kill their crews. Sektar vavid dismissively. Let them die running if they prefer. He didn't know that human crews were secured in acceleration pods, their bodies suspended in specialized gel that let them survive forces that would liquefy most species. Humans had learned to endure pain, to push beyond limits. Space combat was just another extreme environment to master. Lieutenant Santos and her Marines waited in their assault pods attached to the outer hull of their ship. Each pod held 10 soldiers in power armor, ready to launch at a moment's notice. The Dominion expected ship-to-ship combat with energy weapons. They weren't prepared for boarding actions. 2 minutes to engagement range, her pilot announced. Santos checked her rifle one more time. Not an energy weapon like the aliens preferred, but a magnetic accelerator that fired tungsten rounds at percentages of light speed. No shields could stop pure kinetic energy moving that fast. The first phase began exactly as planned. Human ships, moving at speeds the Dominion thought impossible, swept past the alien formation. They didn't slow to engage in traditional broadside battles. Instead, they fired and moved, using their velocity as both weapon and shield. What are they doing? Zektar demanded as damage reports started coming in. Order all ships to. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in seconds later, but the damage was done. Somehow, impossibly, human weapons had bypassed their shields entirely. Not with brute force, but with precision strikes that targeted specific systems. Cyber warfare detected, his security officer shouted. They're in our computers. While the Dominion had focused on energy weapons and shields, humans had perfected electronic warfare. Every human ship carried AI systems designed to infiltrate and corrupt enemy networks. The aliens' own communications systems became weapons against them. But the real surprise came when the boarding pods hit. Hundreds of them, launched during the high-speed passes, attached to Dominion hulls like parasites. Marines in power armor breached the hulls with shaped charges and poured inside. The Dominion had never faced this kind of warfare. Their soldiers were used to long-range energy weapon duels. The humans brought knives to what the aliens thought was an artillery duel, and discovered that in the cramped corridors of spaceship, knives were superior. Santos led her squad through the enemy dreadnoughts corridors. The Dominion warriors were larger, stronger, and had better energy shields. But human soldiers had trained for close-quarters combat their entire lives. They used flashbangs that overloaded alien visual spectrums, gas grenades that targeted specific alien biochemistries, and fought with a viciousness that shocked their enemies. Throne room secured, Santos reported, standing over the unconscious form of a Dominion commander. Moving to engineering. Across the fleet, similar scenes played out. Human Marines, outnumbered 100 to 1, took ship after ship through speed, violence, and psychological warfare. They painted their armor with symbols designed to terrify, played recordings of human war cries that sent primal fear through alien minds. Back in Earth's command center, Rodriguez watched the battle unfold. In 20 minutes, the Dominion had lost 800 ships. Not destroyed, captured, or disabled. Human tactics focused on precision, not destruction. Sir, the Dominion Admiral is trying to retreat, Kim reported. Negative. Signal Phase 2. From behind Earth's moon, the Real surprise emerged. 2,000 more human ships, the ones held in reserve, moved to cut off the Dominion's escape route. But these weren't warships. They were cargo haulers, mining vessels, and civilian craft, all armed with military-grade weapons. The message was clear. Every human ship was a potential warship. Every human was a potential soldier. Zektar's bridge was in chaos. Half his fleet was disabled or captured. His mighty dreadnought had human soldiers running through its corridors. The tactical display showed human ships everywhere, moving too fast to target, striking and disappearing like ghosts. This is impossible, he muttered. They're primitives. They use projectiles and explosives. How are they doing this? His answer came when Captain Thompson's face appeared on his main screen. The human smiled coldly. You made two mistakes, Admiral. First, you assumed that because we chose peace, we were weak. Second, you threatened our home. An explosion rocked the dreadnought as human Marines destroyed its main power core. Humanity didn't unite for peace, Thompson continued. We united because we realized that if we kept fighting each other with our level of warfare, we'd extinct ourselves. We chose survival, but we never forgot how to fight. The pride of Dominion listed to one side, its engines failing. Around Zektar, his bridge crew looked at him in terror. They had come to deliver a lesson to Earth. Instead, they had received one. The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Where days before laughter had filled the vast space, now only shocked whispers echoed. On the main display, footage from the battle played on repeat. 4,000 Dominion ships, the pride of an empire that had never known defeat, floating dead in space or flying Earth's flag. The battle had lasted 37 minutes. High Chancellor Mordun Scales had turned pale, a sign of extreme distress in his species. This is impossible. The Dominion Empire has the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. Corrected a small voice from the corner. Ambassador Chun had returned, taking her seat as if nothing had happened. They had the most advanced fleet. Commander Vrex of the Warrior Caste leaned forward. How? Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are ancient by galactic standards. This makes no sense. Chun stood, straightening her simple business suit. Would you like me to explain, or would you prefer to keep believing we're primitive? The chamber erupted in voices demanding answers. Chun waited patiently for quiet. You judge military power by your own standards, she began. Big ships, energy weapons, shield generators. You've been fighting the same way for thousands of years. When everyone fights the same way, the one with the bigger stick wins. She gestured to the display, showing disabled Dominion vessels. Umans avulva differently. We had no galactic standard to follow. We developed our own methods. You mocked our projectile weapons, but kinetic energy doesn't care about your shields. You laughed at our small ships, but small ships are harder to hit and easier to produce. But the speed, Mordun protested. Those maneuvers should have killed your crews. They would kill your crews, Chen corrected. Humans are persistence predators. We evolved to endure. Our bodies can survive forces that would destroy most species, and we've enhanced that with technology. Your species avoid discomfort. We train in it. She pulled up a new display showing human history. For 10,000 years, we've done nothing but fight. Tribe against tribe, nation against nation, ideology against ideology. We've turned warfare into science. Sun Tzu wrote about military strategy 2,500 years ago, and his words are still studied. Napoleon, Alexander, Patton, Yamamoto. These names mean nothing to you, but to us, they're the masters who taught us war. The display showed images of human conflicts. Ancient battles with swords, trench warfare, tank battles, nuclear weapons, and, finally, space combat. You fight battles. We fight wars. You seek to defeat enemies. We seek to destroy their ability to fight. You follow rules of engagement. We follow the rules of survival. A Vorthack representative chimed in. But surely this was a fluke. One victory doesn't mean one victory. Chun laughed, but there was no humor in it. Do you want to know what really happened? We held back. We disabled those ships instead of destroying them. We captured crews instead of spacing them. We showed restraint. She let that sink in. Earth's military doctrine has 3 levels. Level 1 is what you've seen for 50 years, defensive, diplomatic, peaceful. Level 2 is what you just witnessed, decisive, efficient, controlled. Level 3. Chun paused. Level 3 is what we used on ourselves during our darkest wars. Total war. No mercy. No prisoners. No restraint. The complete annihilation of the enemy's ability to exist. We've banded among ourselves because we know what we're capable of. You're threatening us? Mordun's voice cracked. No, I'm educating you. The Dominion thought they were predators and we were prey. They learned the truth. We're not prey. We're not even predators. We're the species that predators check for before they hunt. On the display, new footage appeared. Human Marines had taken control of Zektar's dreadnought and were treating wounded Dominion soldiers. Enemy combatants were being fed, given medical care, and treated with dignity. This is what confuses you most, isn't it? Chen asked. We defeated them utterly, and now we're caring for them. Because humans understand something you don't. Today's enemy can be tomorrow's ally. We fight to win, but we build to last. What does Earth want? The question came from a species that had remained quiet during the original mockery, one of the smaller members who had feared the Dominion. What we've always wanted. A seat on the Security Council. Fair treatment. Respect. Chen looked around the chamber. And an end to the slavery and genocide that species like the Dominion practice. You can't simply, Commander Vrex started. Can't we? Chen interrupted. The Dominion fleet is ours now. Their slave worlds are being liberated by human Marines as we speak. Their empire built on fear and oppression is crumbling. And we did it in less than an hour. She turned to address the entire council. Humanity offers the galaxy a choice. Accept us as equals, work with us to build a better future, and benefit from our protection and friendship. Or continue to mock us, threaten us, and oppress others, and learn why we chose to unite rather than risk destroying ourselves. The chamber fell silent again. On the display, human ships were already repairing the damaged Dominion vessels, integrating alien technology with human innovation. The message was clear. Humanity didn't just defeat enemies, they absorbed their strengths. There's one more thing, Chen added. The 800 ships that engaged the Dominion, that was already response force. We have 20,000 more in reserve, and every human colony is building new ones. Every human adult has military training. Every city is a fortress. Every citizen is a potential soldier. She smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. We told you the truth from the beginning. Humans have never lost a war. You thought that was because we never fought a real one. The truth is, we've never lost because we don't know how to stop. We fight until we win or we die. There is no middle ground. The vote for Earth's Security Council membership was unanimous. Even species that had mocked them days before voted yes. The laughter had died. In its place was something humanity had earned through centuries of blood and struggle, respect. As Chun left the chamber, she passed by the seats where Zektar and the Dominion delegation once sat. They were empty now, their empire in chains, their fleets flying Earth's flag. She felt no joy in their defeat, only grim satisfaction. Humanity hadn't wanted this fight, but they'd finished it. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth was no longer the newcomer to be mocked. They were the sleeping giant that had been awakened. And everyone now understood why humans had chosen peace, not from weakness, but from wisdom. Because when humans went to war, they didn't just win. They redefined what victory meant. 1 year had passed since the Dominion's defeat. The galaxy had changed more in those 12 months than in the previous 1,000 years. Where the Dominion Empire once ruled through fear, human administrators now worked alongside freed slaves to build something new. Admiral Zektar stood in what had once been his throne room, now converted into a school. Human children learned beside young Dominion, sharing lessons and laughter. The sight would have disgusted him a year ago. Now, it filled him with something he couldn't quite name. Strange, isn't it? A familiar voice said. Captain Thompson entered, no longer in military uniform, but civilian clothes. What different things look when you're not trying to conquer them. Zektar's 4 arms gestured helplessly. I don't understand your species. You defeated us utterly. You could have executed me, enslaved my people as we did to others. Instead, we gave you a choice, Thompson finished. Join us or remain prisoners. You chose to join, because the alternative was unthinkable. But that's not what confuses me. Zektar turned to face the human. Your soldiers, the ones who capture my ship, they fought like demons. Ruthless, efficient, terrifying. Then the battle ended, and those same soldiers gave medical aid to my wounded. How do you switch like that? Thompson smiled sadly. Practice. Lots of practice. Humans have a saying, war is hell, but peace is what we fight for. We learn to separate the soldier from a person. In battle, we're weapons. After battle, we're builders. They walked through the former throne room, passing children of a dozen species playing together. A human girl helped a young Dominion with his reading. A Vorthack child shared lunch with a human boy. This is what victory looks like to humans, Thompson explained. Not conquest, but conversion. Not subjects, but citizens. We fought the Dominion Empire, but we're building the Dominion Republic with your people. Throughout the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Human efficiency had transformed former slave worlds into thriving colonies. The same logistics that moved armies now moved food and medicine. The same strategic minds that planned battles now planned infrastructure. At Earth's military command, General Rodriguez stood before a gathering of alien military leaders who had come to learn. The chamber that once planned humanity's defense now hosted seminars on human military doctrine. You want to understand human warfare, Rodriguez began. First, forget everything you think you know about combat. Energy weapons, shield generators, massive dreadnoughts. These are tools, not doctrine. He activated a hologram showing ancient human battlefields. Human warfare is based on 3 principles: speed, violence, and adaptability. We strike fast, we strike hard, and we change tactics instantly. Your species fight with honor and rules. We fight to win. A mechanoid officer raised a metallic hand. But your restraint after victory. How does that fit with fighting to win? Because the battle is just the beginning, Rodriguez explained. Any fool can destroy an enemy. It takes wisdom to turn an enemy into an ally. We don't fight to conquer. We fight to convert. Today's enemy is tomorrow's trading partner. The display showed human history. Enemies becoming allies. adversaries becoming friends. Britain and America, Germany and France, Japan, and the United States. Nations that had tried to destroy each other now stood as closest allies. Humans have a unique trait, Rodriguez continued. We forgive, but we don't forget. We remember the lessons, but release the hatred. That's how we've survived, by turning our greatest enemies into our strongest friends. In the Galactic Council, Ambassador Chun faced a different challenge. Species that had once mocked Earth now came seeking protection. Pirates and slavers who had operated freely now found human patrol ships responding to distress calls in minutes. Ambassador, the Aquari representative, bubbled nervously. The Crimson Raiders have threatened our outer colonies. We request Earth's assistance. Chun nodded. Task Force 7 is already en route. They'll arrive within 6 hours. 6 hours? But that's 3 sectors away. How? We anticipated the threat, Chun explained. Human doctrine includes something called force projection. We don't wait for problems to arrive. We position ourselves to respond before they develop. The truth was more complex. Earth's intelligence network had expanded rapidly, using the same skills that humans had honed spying on each other for millennia. Every human ship carried sensors and communication equipment that fed data back to Earth. The galaxy was being mapped, cataloged, and analyzed. But not for conquest. For protection. Lieutenant Santos, promoted to captain, stood on the bridge of her own ship now. The ESS Guardian patrolled the former Dominion slave routes, ensuring no one tried to restart the trafficking. Captain, we're picking up a distress signal, her communications officer reported. Source: a Vorthack mining vessel. They report system failures and request assistance. Set course to intercept. Engineering teams stand by for emergency repairs. This was the new human way. The same ships that had torn through the Dominion fleet now served as rescue vessels, police craft, and emergency responders. The galaxy had expected conquerors. They got protectors instead. Back on Earth, in a small bar in New Geneva, veterans of the Dominion War gathered. Humans, Dominion, and others who had fought on both sides now shared drinks and stories. To absent friends, one human raised his glass. To former enemies, a Dominion warrior added. To the future, they chorused together. The war had ended in minutes, but the peace would last generations. Earth had shown the galaxy what humans were capable of in war. Now they were showing what humanity could build in peace. The transformation was remarkable. Trade routes that had been dangerous for centuries were now safe. Species that had hidden in fear now walked freely. Technological advancement accelerated as human innovation merged with alien knowledge. We still don't understand, More Dunn told Chun during a council recess. Your species had the power to rule the galaxy. Why choose service instead? Chun looked out at the stars visible through the chamber's transparent ceiling. Because we've tried ruling. We've had empires, dictatorships, and conquests. They all fell. But partnerships? Alliances? Friendships? Those endure. She turned back to the High Chancellor. Humans didn't unite to rule Earth. We united to survive it. Now we're helping the galaxy do the same. Not through conquest, but through cooperation. Not as rulers, but as partners. The year anniversary of the battle was marked not with celebration of victory, but with remembrance of the fallen on both sides. Human military tradition honored all warriors, regardless of uniform. Admiral Zektar stood beside General Rodriguez at the memorial service. Once enemies, now they work together to train the next generation of peacekeepers. Do you regret it? Rodriguez asked quietly. The battle, I mean? Zektar's forearms moved in his species equivalent of shrug. I regret that it was necessary. But perhaps it was inevitable. The galaxy needed to change. It took humanity to show us how. As the ceremony ended, ships from 100 species flew in formation. Human vessels flew alongside former enemies, all united under one banner. The galaxy had learned the most important lesson about humanity. They had laughed at Earth's weakness, only to discover its strength. They had mocked human primitiveness, only to be defeated by innovation. They had threatened humanity's existence, only to be saved by its mercy. The laughter had stopped. In its place was something far more powerful: respect, partnership, and hope. Earth had won more than a battle. They had won a future. And in schools across the galaxy, children learned a new lesson. Humans are friends to those who choose friendship, protectors to those who need protection, and nightmares to those who threaten either. The galaxy no longer laughed at Earth. They stood with it, building tomorrow together.